Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Joel Saint. I'm a pastor here in Lancaster County. Merry Christmas, first of all,
Merry Christmas.
to all of you. What would it be like if Christ had never come? In the summer of 1880, George H. Walser founded the town of Liberal in southwest Missouri. Named after the Liberal League in Lamar, Missouri, to which the town's organizer belonged, Walser's objective was to found a town without a church, where unbelievers could bring up their children without religious training, and where Christians were not allowed. His idea was to build up a town that should exclusively be the home of infidels, a town that should have neither God, hell, church, nor saloon. Some of the early inhabitants of Liberal even encouraged other infidels to move to their town by publishing an advertisement which boasted that Liberal is the only town of its size in the United States without a priest, preacher, church, saloon, God, Jesus, hell, or devil. Sounds like a wonderful place. See how it worked out. Walser and his free-thinking associates were openly optimistic about their new town. Excitement was in the air and atheism was at its core. They believed that their godless town of sober, trustworthy, and industrious individuals would thrive for years on end. But as one young resident of that town, Bessie Thompson, who wrote about it later, wrote about Liberal in 1895, like all other unworthy causes, it had its day and passed away. Now, why do we bring this up today? This atheist experiment that we're into, nationally speaking, has been tried before. I would encourage everyone listening to look more into Liberal, Missouri, because it failed horribly. And since Liberal was started, one observer who wrote this and was actually sued later and won both lawsuits, he said, "Feticide is universal. The physicians of the place say that a large portion of their practice has been trying to save females from the consequences of feticide." That was a new word for me. Feticide. We now have the more acceptable word abortion, but the word then was feticide. He goes on to say, in no towns is slander more prevalent or the charges more vile. If one were to accept what the inhabitants say of each other, he would conclude that there is a hell, including all Liberal, and that its inhabitants are the devils. Such are the facts concerning this infidel enterprise. Well, the whole thing fell apart. And what happened towards the end was no one could sell their land because people were trying to get out. Now, that's a thing for us to think about today. We often say that real estate will just rise in value, our homes will rise in value. But that'll only happen if with an increase in population. With a decrease in population, real estate will definitely lose its value because there's less people that want to purchase it. Well, there's a lot more that we can say about this entire failed experiment. It was a complete disaster, and George Walser, apparently himself, after he went into a issue of spiritualism, it appears as if he became a believer at the end of his life, his entire experiment having failed horribly. Horribly. People wanted to get out of there. 3 points that have to do with the coming of Christ. Number one, sexual license and respect for human life cannot coexist. They never have. They never will. This idea that we can get rid of marriage, that we can just live together and then just trade partners and so forth. You can't do that and have respect for life at the same time. Number two, public education has ruled the day. It's a dominated education for nearly 2 generations. It's atheistic at its core. Now the big issue is mental health. How did this happen? It wasn't that long ago when education was going to fix everything, and now we have mental health problems everywhere. How did this happen? How? I submit to you that it's not because we've had too many Bible studies and after school hours. And number 3, Christ is King of Kings. We will continue to spread misery and death as long as we continue to reject his legitimate authority, as happened in Liberal, Missouri. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time this morning, and Merry Christmas once again.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.